So here we have three guys who spent a significant amount of time in China.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was 14 and a half years.
10 years for me.
And you?
4 years.
And then Taiwan for 2.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah,
6.
okay,
Yeah.
6. All right, and there's this thing that goes around that China attracts loser foreigners, like scumbags.
Right.
So we want to talk about, just discuss it. Is it actually true?
Okay.
Are we scumbags?
This is a good theory.
Yeah.
I think we'll have a good little debate on the road.
I know I am.
We'll see you on the road.
I remember you lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt alive. I remember you.
Look, are those eagles that fly up over the...
Those are California golden eagles.
Yeah, and there's also hawks and shit.
Yeah. It is boiling, guys. I think it's probably almost 100 degrees up here.
Yeah, well, our bikes have that temperature thing, don't they?
Well, mine warns me if it's too hot.
It's 96 degrees.
Sorry, I gotta
Holy
hear one.
crap. 96 degrees, guys.
Well, at least, yeah. All
That
right.
is hot.
Let's go, Prozzie, if you can figure out how to use your bike.
How did I turn my high beams on? Oh, it's not.
You saw it
Alright.
as a kill switch.
Ah.
All right, guys.
I feel,
So,
feel bad for your
cool.
clutch.
Speaking of scumbags,
Yeah.
no, just kidding. How are you guys doing back there?
F off, brah.
Okay, so no, quite seriously though, we've all heard the term LBH or loser back home, right?
Yep.
Yeah, my ex used to call me that all the time.
I mean, very often that's the go-to attack for Chinese nationalists.
Yeah.
It's like these guys couldn't get a real job back home. They couldn't. They suck back home. Before we even start on this, I'd like to say that it's totally the opposite. For somebody to leave a good country, a nice country, a country that is plush and nice, like America, Canada, Australia, any kind of developed country, anywhere in Europe, let's just say, to go to a place like Asia, it's usually about adventure, and it takes a big risk mindset. You have to take a massive risk to leave the safety of your own country, your friends, your family, to go to a place like Asia. So I feel like it's more like winners back home are the ones that take that leap. However, there are also those that have to run away from life in the good countries because they suck and they're scumbags, and so you do get the loser back home thing. But let's just talk. We'll start again with Prozzie because he's a new guy on the team here for this little trip here.
Sure.
How about you tell us your whole take on the whole loser back home thing, and maybe you've got a story or two about some loser back homes you've met, or maybe you're one too.
Yeah, well, I always hated getting called that because, you do get called that from time to time, but it's like, I had a Scion FRS back home. I had a good job back home. I wasn't rich or anything.
Come on in front of us, dude.
Yeah, let me
Go
just
for it.
wait until this corner.
It's
Okay.
alright.
Go
We'll be
for
on
it.
the side.
Yeah. Okay, keep going. Yeah, you had an FRS, huh?
Well, I had an okay. I'm just gonna follow this road then.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Just keep going straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had an okay life back home. I don't think I was a loser, and so it was so annoying getting called back. 'Cause it's like, are you kidding me? I could go back home right now and probably have a better life. I'm just here because of however many reasons. And I have met a lot of I'll call them losers. Like, I remember there's this guy. I won't even say where he's from or anything like that, but he would he ended up getting fired because he came in to work just drunk one day, and ended up hitting one of the children.
He hit them.
Yeah, he was a real piece of work. He was really strange, like just really socially not all there. And that's one thing you'll find with some foreigners that you meet is there's something kind of off. There's something sort of socially that just doesn't click. Like they've been socially mishandled in their upbringing. I think what it is, I think there's two things. I think there are losers back home that go abroad because they're running away from something like Winston mentioned. But I also think that because you are not only giving up your family and giving up your the safety of your home, again, like Winston said, you're also giving up the responsibility. You're not responsible for anything anymore because no one knows anything about you, and so you're kind of free to do whatever you want. You're sort of free to sort of reinvent yourself, and nothing is holding you down to a sort of moral standard. Whoopsie, that was shifted the wrong. What the? There we go. Sorry, I have to shut this thing up. And so I don't think, some people start off okay back home and they turn out to be, they kind of rot away in Asia because there's nothing, there's no outside pressures or forces keeping you together as a morally correct person.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
gotcha.
sort of my
That makes
take on it.
sense. I'm going to riff off of that quickly because you're absolutely right about that. When you do go to a place where there are no other foreigners to hold you up to the moral standard of the society that you're from,
Yeah.
you just go ape. You go ape. I've seen it happen a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all went through it a little bit, you let your guard down, you become a scumbag, you go like walking around drunk on the streets and being a total tool, getting rowdy and drunk at this roadside barbecues and stuff, because there's no one there that you really care about because you can't speak the language and stuff. No one's like going to be there to like, oh, don't behave like that,
I
Exactly.
wouldn't pin that directly to the people just like having no one to fraternize with. It's actually learning from the locals as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's
in
stuff
China,
that's
that's what local
acceptable.
people do, right?
Right.
They do that. But there was this case, this is many, many years ago. It's before you guys got to China, in probably about 2007, that I had where, there were so few foreigners around. You get to know every single freaking foreigner that turns up in the city, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, because there's so few of you around. And there are very few South Africans, but because South Africa, it's got that situation where everyone's trying to leave from every walk of life.
Right.
Doesn't matter who you are. If you can get out, you'll get out. So you tend to find South Africans in these kind of more rough sort of situations where I guess Americans, Canadians and stuff wouldn't do. They wouldn't go to like mainland China and work for like 3,000 RMB a month or something.
Yeah, it's a nice view out there, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
awesome
epic,
up here. Anyway, so this guy, fresh off the boat, South African guy, he just went wild. We took him out for a couple of drinks and all that. He got so drunk and he I don't know, something clicked in his brain because he thought, you know what, I'm free, I can do whatever I want. So
Yeah.
the guy started to pick up beer bottles off the table and just throw them like randomly into the street
Oh
and
my
do all this
God.
stuff. And we're like, listen, dude, what the hell are you doing? I actually had to restrain the guy and say, you're the kind of person that gives us all a bad name.
Yes, that's where the stereotypes are coming from.
Square that shit away. But that's what happens. People lose it. I mean, it's incredibly freeing, and like you say, you can reinvent yourself. That's why you get all these guys saying that they're like special forces CEOs.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to continue with that, C-Milk?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll go in a little different direction. I actually want to talk about the psychological, changes that foreigners go through when they're there, right?
Yeah.
So let's be devil's advocate and say you're not a loser back home, but you went to China.
Right.
You can become a loser in China.
Yes.
And my theory is that there is so many societal influences around you when you see what Chinese men get away with in terms of prostitution, infidelity, like you said, the alcohol abuse, that kind of thing. The mistreatment of lower caste people like wait staff. All this stuff rubs off on people, right? So I think you can actually go through a lot of changes. And what happens is, because there's this really terrible stereotype about English teachers, if you tell a Chinese person you're an English teacher, number one, they're just going to think that you're some douche that came over to make some money and F around, right? And then
Yeah.
number two, the other foreigners that try to position themselves higher than the average English teacher create their own hierarchy. So there's this cool little sandbox experiment you can do as a foreigner. You go to any sort of town or city where there's foreigners teaching, and
by
you
the
go
way-
to the what?
Sorry, guys. Do you want to do some really nice twisties quickly?
Yeah, I'm always down for that. Sorry, did I miss the turn? I don't know where we're going.
Yeah, if we want to do some really nice twisties, we should go back and do that little Palomar mountain thing up there.
Okay, that's why I
Palomar
shouldn't be
Mountain
in the front.
No, I mean, look, this is the route we were going to take anyway, but if you want to see some really nice twisties, that's where we go. So let's
Okay.
just find a place to do a U-turn over
Does
here.
it end up in the same place?
Maybe. We'll find out.
Why don't you go ahead of me there, Winston? Because
Okay.
Over
yeah.
here?
Yeah, pull over here, yeah.
I'll go in front.
Yeah, C-Milk can go in front, yeah. Because he's talking now anyway, so... just go back there and then take the first right.
Okay. First right.
Yeah,
let me just get my bike started back.
Yeah.
yeah. All right, anyway, you were saying, C-Milk?
So, a nice little sandbox experiment. Go to any sort of foreign frequented bar in China, and
Yeah.
you'll meet the different characters. You have the people that are totally satisfied with the fact that they're there for a couple years just doing their ESL jobs. And then you have the guys that stayed way too long, the guys that picked up all these habits. These
Right
are the
over
guys
here.
that are
Right.
gonna, right here.
Yeah.
These are the guys that are going to, right, where?
Oh shit! Just a little further.
Oh, okay.
Right over here.
You
Yeah.
keep doing that.
These,
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Continue.
these are the guys that are stayed way too long and they know it. They've
Yeah.
picked up all the bad habits. They have all the vices. They're heavy smokers now, heavy drinkers, and they do
Yeah.
the same things that the average, maybe lower class Chinese dude would do. But these are the guys that are going to claim everything because they have actually no validity and of real achievements in their lives. So they'll be
Yeah.
like, well, back home I was like so like you said, a special forces ops retired, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I used to
had
be a
s-
millionaire
was
and I lost it all.
Right.
Yeah.
I worked on Wall Street. You always hear this. I worked on Wall Street and I was a financial analyst and all this kind of stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
so what do you do now? And they're like, well, I'm just trying to get some credentials, pick up some Chinese and then I'll be even a bigger asset back home. But they've
Yeah.
been there for like 10, 15 years and
Sure.
their health is failing.
Yeah.
All the baijiu and smoking and all this kind of stuff. It's really funny to see these characters, and that's actually my theory about this whole thing, is China can turn you into an absolute scumbag, whether you were or not.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was trying to say. I guess you just sort of did a better job.
Yeah, I'm no lie. You have to have a lot of moral fortitude if you're going to, survive China.
Yeah,
right.
Because one of the first things I was offered when I got to meet Chinese guys was prostitutes.
Yep.
Prostitution is such a huge, normal, accepted thing in China, and I don't know about you guys, but where I grew up, prostitution is for like scumbags.
Yeah.
Sorry if anyone's like into prostitution and that's their shtick, but like where I grew
That's
up
their
anyway.
hobby.
Yeah, no, honestly, where I grew up, if you're with a prostitute, it's only because there's you're kind of a loser that can't get his own normal relationship. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But in China, it's part of business. It's part of a night out. People go to karaoke and end up with prostitutes at the end of the night, and it's super normal for all walks of life, rich and poor.
Yeah. Construction
So,
workers.
like what I'm trying to say is like, whoa, sorry, almost.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, these roads are pretty sweet. Huh?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, you have to be careful because booze and cigarettes, of course, are very cheap and they flow freely all the time.
And it's how you
Right.
make your friends too. Like you offer someone a cigarette and you cheers them, and it's like if you don't do that, you're the social outcast.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all about making friends. So I think for the weaker-willed man, because let's face it, all men at the end of the day, all they are interested in is like sex and booze and whatever. That's men, like in a nutshell. And
Maybe in your family.
well, no, seriously, you can't deny it. Like every man, he can say what he wants, but at the end of the day, that's our biological forces drive us forward.
Yeah.
We just want to be drunk and have sex all the time. I reckon that's like 90% of men's existence. At least they're what they want. So when you're in China and that's on offer all the time for next to nothing, like really cheap, and it's all around you. You have to be a very moral sort of a guy with some high standards to not allow yourself to sink into a debaucherous mess
agree.
of a man.
Yeah,
agree.
I think we could probably promise anyone who goes to China for any extended period of time, you're not going to leave the country as the same, like as a person.
No.
It's going to change you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's that whole theory of yours about changing people into scumbags is pretty damn true.
Okay.
But also the fact of the matter is you do get a lot of people that are scumbags that escape to China.
Right.
I've met a lot of people that were drug dealers or some kind of criminals, or they maybe like a little mentally retarded or something. You can
Right.
say that, right? Mentally disabled.
for
So
sure.
they've got big social problems. I've met people like this all over, like people that would not fit in elsewhere.
Right.
They get away with being in China because if you're a foreigner, you can get a job and you earn enough money to live like a king. Because you don't need to earn a lot of money to have a great standard of living. And by that I mean be able to afford drinking every night, having food all the time, prostitutes all the time. That's,
Right.
the kind of thing that starts to happen to a lot of people. And I've seen it change a lot of people into like bad people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
These roads are epic.
Yeah.
This
it's
was
pretty
this
epic.
was fantastic. This was like Taiwan but less humid.
Yeah.
Did I not tell you we should have taken this road? This is
You're
the one
right.
to take. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So what can we add to this, really? Like,
I think we've kind of beat it to death. I don't know.
Yeah.
think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, I don't want to take away from the guys who have pulled through it and have come out the other side more or less unscathed.
Yeah, but we're just using our own experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys came out pretty much on top, right? Like, you've improved your lives significantly since, you know. I think if you compare yourselves now to when you first moved to China.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. China was a fantastic place for all this opportunity and to do a lot of growth, a lot of personal growth too.
Right.
You know, but you can also be stunted there. You know, a lot of people, because they get stuck in that debaucherous lifestyle, they never have money. You know?
Yeah.
Because they're basically stuck paycheck to paycheck, because every night they're out boozing and whoring and whatever else.
Yeah, a
Right?
lot of people can't afford a plane ticket home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't for like 4 years.
There you go. Anecdotal.
I mean, that's what separates the, you know, you can tell.
The boys
If
from the
someone's
men?
Yeah, the wheat from the chaff. Let's just put it that way. If someone has enough money in their bank, you know, like some savings, then they're probably okay. If they got nothing, they're probably an LBH, because China's the easiest place in the world to save money, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's about it. Anything you want to tell our subscribers before we sign off, Seamilk?
I wanted to let people know that it's unlawful to throw snowballs at vehicles or occupants.
Well, I don't think there's any chance of that happening today.
No, it certainly does in winter, though. Well,
Yeah.
we're at 4,000 feet already.
Yeah, we're getting up there, eh?
It's crazy,
Yeah.
but yeah, whether you're a loser back home or a winner back home, you might be a Lao winner. I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Let us know what you think. Maybe you've been to other countries where this kind of thing happens. Maybe it's not just China. I have a feeling it happens.
Wow,
But,
that view is fantastic.
wow, say that is nice. Anyway,
Yeah.
let us know down below. And oh, by the way, don't forget to check out our podcast. Actually, Prozzie will be on this week's podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be the
wait.
first guest ever. Absolutely. Yeah, guys, and whether you are, you know, one of these guys living a debaucherous lifestyle, remember, there's always a chance for you to clean up your act, you know? You don't have to let that kind of lifestyle define you.
Sure.
You know, you can make something out of your life, but if you're perfectly fine to live like Caligula, you know, go ahead. Anyway, we love you all the same, so until next time, you know the drill. As always, stay awesome.
Don't forget, guys, every single Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, go watch ADV China. You can actually watch another one right here. Every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, go check out Lao 86. And right below that, you can watch SerpentZA every single Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks.